We will be talking about connected ships for the future. And we will meet the CEO at Ö-PAC. Ö-PAC is a new started high-tech company within Borgen and joint ownership with Datavärde. You will meet Torbjörn, who is a shipbuilder from Chalmers University of Technology, and he has worked with IT electrification and energy storage for 30 years. So please, a big hand for CEO at Ö-PAC, Torbjörn Sundström.
Hey. So, welcome. We heard this morning that the theme for this seminars, change for the future. And our contribution to that would be connected ships for the future. So, my name is Torbjörn Sundström. As we heard, I have a degree of naval architecture from Chalmers, and it took me 30 years to come to this industry. I started 92 at working at Ericsson in high tech, in telecom until 2000-ish, where it became telematics and Internet of Things, and after that energy storage. I will tell you some stories from that, and we will talk about connected ships. So, first, all of this we will talk about today is about change, and change of how you do things. Everything in our lives, all jobs that arise that we need to get done are getting done today. So someone is doing it. But the difference is there a smarter way to do things? In our world, digitalization and all the high-tech technologies that comes will just help us to do things smarter, but we are already doing it. And the problem can come when someone else is doing it better than you are. Then you have a problem. So that's why we need to change, we need to improve, and we need to do what we do better every day. And normally we think of small incremental steps. We make it better every day, a bit better and a bit better. Eventually we grow. Or it can come something from the side and totally disrupt an industry. That is not happening all the time, but smartphones, of course, is one of them. And it might just happen in our business too. So, what are the trends that are making that we need to talk about? How many in this room think that you will not be affected by artificial intelligence? None. Okay. And how many in this room think that they will not be affected by electrification? No one? Okay. So we might have to change and pay some attention. I will tell you a story. 2002, 20 years ago, I was the marketing director for a company called Wireless Car. Anyone heard of it? No. They work with truck telematics and vehicle telematics. At that time, it was owned by Volvo. It was started by Ericsson, Telia, the telecom operator, and Volvo. And we had customers like Volvo Cars, BMW Cars, Volvo Trucks, Volvo Construction Equipment. And what we did, today it would be called Internet of Things. But suddenly we found out that all those technologies from the telecom world, from the motor world, and from the industrial world all met. So we could do all things. We could do transport management, we can do energy optimization, we can do vehicle automation, we could do sensors that take in data from the vehicles, and we would analyze that. We did everything. But we had a problem. No one really understood what we were doing and why we were doing it. I talked to one of the fleet owners from England that had around 20 trucks, lorries driving on roads, and we had this system, Dynafleet, it was called, installed. We made 1 year trial, I think, and after that we all got together and they were pretty happy with the result, but it was not really that hallelujah moment. And the thing they regretted the most was that they did not involve the HR, the human resources, in the beginning, because it was a business transition. They had to do things the other way around. And I think that is something that we need to take care of, how the people that we actually are making changes into their working life. It was kind of hard to sell things. We had around 1,000 trucks in the system. It grew by maybe 100 a year. No one really understood it. Top managers of Volvo wanted to close down the whole thing. So it was really, we can do everything, but why should we? It almost became a religion. It was like we called ourselves telematics believers, and we asked ourselves, are you a believer? So that was when I left. That was 20 years ago. After that, we started another journey. I will come back to that. But let's focus on what the jobs are that we need to fix today. This is a way to describe how a ship is operated and the problems we have and the tasks we have. 4 things: minimize cost. We have to minimize the fuel cost, the investment cost, the wear and tear, and the personnel, probably much more. The best performance, that we need to maximize the uptime. We have to be there. We have to come in time. We have to arrive at the harbor at the right time. We have to do it with reasonable comfort for the passengers and the crew, and we have to do what we are set out to do. A search and rescue vessel without a towing line can't work as a search and rescue vessel. It's not simply not useful. We have to do it safe. Navigation is one. Of course, you don't want to crash into something, or you don't want to crash into something because your engine fails and you get a blackout in the wrong place. Or you get a fire on board. That's also something that is a technical problem. We need to fix that. And of course, the last thing, we need to do this in a reasonable way to our environment. Emissions, noise, wakes maybe, waste of course, and we need to keep our ships for a long time. The longer we can have them and the more times we can rebuild them, the better for the environment because of the scrap. So this is what we need to do. When we started Ö-PAC, it was a cooperation between Öborgen and a company called Datavärde. Datavärde, and together with a Swedish search and rescue organization, SSRS, started a project 3 years ago called Ship to Shore. The Ö-PAC version of that is called Vessel Care. And we will go on with this. So all that system is transferred to Ö-PAC, so it's operated by Ö-PAC entity now. And we will develop that further. Basically, it is a general IoT system with positioning. You have engine data. You have a possibility to track events in afterwards. You can do some maintenance planning in it. You get online data, of course, what is happening right now. But, so, let's get back to Dynafleet, Volvo Trucks 2002. What has happened the last 20 years? Of all those things you could do, what did they actually do? So I went back and checked. And the thing that really survived the all thing is possible into what people actually needed was this. Volvo Trucks today have something they call uptime centers or uptime management, where they supervise all the trucks. Every new truck from Volvo is connected with an IoT unit in it. And they are tracked and they are supervised by Volvo, if they are in warranty or if they have a service contract. Otherwise, the fleet owners can buy the service. And I believe that why make our own trials? If they have done that and that is a conclusion for 20 years of operation, I think that is where we should start. So in our world, we call it vessel care centers. That would be the central place where you supervise all the connected ships. How it's done today is that when you add on board a new ship into the system, we do a mapping, we call it, but it's basically risk analysis. What would kill this ship and what would keep it not from working? It might be 5, 6 things that are the top things, and they are supervised. So we measure them with technical systems. So we collect data from the ships. We can detect problems from several places, either from this system, directly from the ship, from the crew, of course, or for service planning. We need to do things because the number of hours have come to a place. So we detect the problem. This center, of course, the one that operates it, notifies the owner, analyzes the severity of the problem, plan an action, and service plan is updated afterwards. But the one that actually fixes this is the shipyards, and that could be this outside the system, even if they can work in it. But it can be on-site support, of course. It can be remote support or docking or service at the shipyard. And the ship will be ready to go. So, how do we affect this then? Yes, if you go back to this, the investment cost, of course, you can do much, you can keep it for longer, you can longer year for the same investments. The wear and tear can actually go down as well, I will come to that. The personnel is that the service management will handle more ships for the same user. So that is a saving. Uptime, of course, is one thing that we maximize. Given uptime, you can arrive in time and you can do whatever you are purposed to do. The technical function will act on the safety, and the emission, noise, waste, and lifetime will all be improved. So, the next trip we did, or the next journey, was actually in the electrification world. So in 2008, me and my friends also joining Ö-PAC, some of them, started a company called Alelion Batteries. So we were developing and selling lithium batteries. And at that time, it was like selling sand in Sahara. In 2008, it was financial crisis, everything was going down. It was way too costly, and no one really understood it. You feel the same thing as the first story. You didn't really know what to do with this technology. But things improved. 10 years later, the cost is much lower, the acceptance is much higher, and the need of clean solutions is much, much higher. So, but what could we do to drive electrification? Yes, we have a vision, Vision Electric, the zero emission. We will do whatever we can to electrify and to reduce the CO2 emissions. But one thing that was always the trickiest part when you were selling batteries to anyone that would use it in a professional way was, how do you actually use your vehicle, the vessel, or whatever kind of vehicle it was. And no one really knew that. They said that, yeah, we have a driver profile, it's about this, and we have no idea if that was true or not. We actually had, we were very much working with forklifts, indoor forklifts, and if you ask a forklift supplier, they would say that our products are used 8 hours a day. If we asked the forklift by measuring on it, it was two hours a day. So it was totally different. So we couldn't really trust any of those user profiles. And then the customer comes to us, battery suppliers, saying, okay, we want a long warranty of this. You have to state that this works for time. And we can't do that because we don't know how you do use it, dear customer. And then we were in the, it's a troublesome discussion. So what we are doing at Ö-PAC right now is to take that role as really defining the usage of the ship that will be electric. So we will be able to tell to anyone and make a good dimensioning of the needed battery size and the capacities and the performance of the drivetrain. So you do the right investment, not too much and not too little, and it will last as long as it should. And you would get the warranties. And the trick would be to keep that measurement system afterwards. So you actually can tell and prove that we have done this. And if you're not doing it, then you can act before it breaks. So that is our first, or the basic contribution to electrification. And we would sell the the logger tools. We will take the data, we'll make all the reports, and we will also support in electrification sourcing, just to maximize the best investment. We have just started. The ship-to-shore system is up and running. It will be enhanced. We will work with some selected customers for the coming time, and we will prove it, and then when we have done that, we are fully sure that this is right, it will be scaled to the whole of Europe. But we have to prove it first in the large field trials. So that's where we are. Yeah, I have 2 minutes left, but that was about what I was about to say.
Thank you, Torbjörn. I got a question. If I already have an existing system, do I have to replace it if I want to use your systems instead?
No, we try not to, because again, we want to make sure that we are sustainable and we don't want to waste things. So if there are already existing measurement and transmission units in the ships, we try to use them, but maybe we take the data from them instead. But if there are none, or if it's very special things we need to do, we have to put them there. Otherwise, we should be able to use what we have. No.
Dawson Shipping Me says, we change for the future.
Yes.
What do you have to change to meet the future?
Yeah, I think we need to always be prepared to change the way we work, and make sure that we don't add a new technology gadget and we keep on doing what we did. That will just be waste. So we have to use the tools that are given to us. I think that is the most important message.